Yours, mine's not even doing anything yet.
Yours isn't doing anything yet?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. We're waiting. Sorry. We have technical difficulties. Two technically challenged people having technical difficulties. Can you imagine that?
Hi, Vanessa.
Hey, Jay. It might be Jay. Vanessa and Jay. It could be one or the other. It could be
Vanessa
both.
Vanessa and Jay. Oh, yeah. and we're live on mine. Hi, people. Good afternoon, good morning.
Good morning. Don't rush the day.
Hey, but it could be anywhere because international. Don't forget, I am British, so my British friends might be watching us. So it could be my afternoon, morning, afternoon, or evening.
It could be night. It could be the middle of the night.
It could be in India. Somebody in India could be watching it.
They could be.
Yeah.
And what time is it over there?
In India, it's bedtime.
Bedtime.
It's
so it's 11:30.
Yeah. It's not getting dark. It's dark. It's 11:30. It's 12 and a half hours.
It's past bedtime.
Yeah, it's past bedtime.
Yeah.
Well, depending on your bedtime.
Well, yeah.
You know, my bedtime's usually around this time.
Yeah.
Hi, Faye.
Hey, Aunt Jean. That's my aunt. Hi, Aunt Jean. How are you?
Hi, Auntie. How are you guys doing? Thanks for joining us.
Bob, good to see you, Bob. Thanks for joining.
We're just getting here on live online because we wanted to do our sharing for our new joint venture for Love Your Life Story. And today we just wanted to have a discussion about the blueprint of our life, or your life blueprint, and how over the years how it's happened, and we don't know about these things because we don't think about it in that way, and we do things in a certain way or a certain behavior, or how else would you say it, Randy?
Well, we fall into habits that are handed down from generation to generation. And, a lot of times you'll hear, well, it's just who I am, I hope you don't like it. And the reality is we don't like it in a lot of cases, but it's not your fault. We learn these behaviors. Like I say, it's just a matter of generation to generation. And with all the men that I've worked with and the women Kathy and I worked with, we found this to be very true, that we are who we are because of the lineage that came before us. But that being said, we don't have to remain that person. Now, remember, as Dipika and I were talking earlier, it's not always bad. There's a lot of good people out there, and they've had great role models throughout their life, and they're great people. Mm-hmm. And so we work with the population of people that's really hurt, and we try to get them to understand where that hurt comes from and how they got to where they are today. Mm-hmm. So it's not their fault. It's just the way it is.
And I think also, I think the extreme that we work with, because we work with extreme cases as well as people, it's not just hurt. We've also worked with people who, just like Mandy said earlier, that, have had wonderful lives, but they still experience hurt. So where does that come from? And, where, they might go deep into their life experience. Okay, they came into this world, they had great role models, parents, siblings, family members, they went through the education, they did the things that life has told us to do, go through education, good manners, eat well, sleep well, build a family, build a community. They've done all those things, and then they've gone into life, and life has happened. Then all of a sudden something's happened in their life, and it's changed how they behave towards themselves. Ultimately, this is the whole point of understanding where we've come from, is why do we do what we do, and why do we continue doing it even though it hurts us. So not necessarily just that hurt people, but even people who haven't had trauma or hurt in their their childhood or their adolescence, but still at some point in their life something might have happened where they're not making the choices based on what's good for them, rather they're making a choice based on some kind of form of belief that they, I don't know, whether it's self-worth, self-confidence,
what it is this, and like you said, we can have the best parents in the world, the best intentions in the world, but oftentimes, and when I talk, I always go to the parents. And so don't take this personal in any fashion, shape, or form about parents, because we have to talk about parents in order to heal the deeper wounds. And a lot of times our parents have the best intentions for us, and they push us to do things and do things and do things. And a lot of times they push us to do things we don't want to do. But we're doing them to please our parents, even though we're sacrificing our own happiness. And that eventually, in my experience with working with a lot of people, it catches up to a lot of people, and they carry a lot of resentment towards their parents because of it. So it's another form of hurt. They've had a great life, they've got the education, they've got a good career, but they're absolutely miserable, and they've been carrying this resentment towards their parents for, maybe 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, because they weren't allowed to be the person that they were. They're not being their true authentic self. And somewhere along the line, it catches up with people, and hopefully it catches up with them before the bottle catches them, or drug catches them, or overeating catches them, or pornography catches them.
Or another addictive behavior. Ultimately, some form of behavior or some form of way to disconnect ourselves from reality. So that could be anything, right? An extreme of anything, an extreme of, getting yourself disconnected by doing something that,
exercise,
over-exercise.
People, they become obsessed with exercise, and it takes them away. Exercising, you get those feel-good endorphins going, and it's a way to make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
I know it worked for me, If I don't work out today, my wife will tell you that, Randy, you got to go ride your bike, because you're out here right now, you're really miserable. And it's probably because you haven't been riding your bike. And she's true. And that's true.
But then that's that balance of going, okay, but if you was to do that and you're not available for your wife, and not available for your children, or not available for your family members, or for your friends. So here I am, a single woman, and but I know, whether I was in a relationship, because if I got into a relationship, my old pattern would be, I would just think about that relationship, and only that relationship. I'd, ignore, or put all my friends aside. I'd put my life aside, because I want to make, this partnership work. And ultimately that's it's an unhealthy way of doing things, because you haven't got that fine balance. So it's that extreme of a behavior. So, and the behavior would be, okay, making sure this person likes me, to sustain this relationship, I have to be completely available, and then I'm not being myself. I'm not doing the things that are important to me. In previous relationships, I'd get in, and exercise was a big part of my relationship, my own sanity, and what I would end up doing, getting into a new relationship and stop exercising.
Right. So you're not being your authentic.
I'm not being authentic, and then all of a sudden, something would happen, and I'd feel it. And then, but by that time, usually I get into my rut before I get out of it. And it really takes some effort to get out of it, to get into my habit, to get into my own habit. But then by that time, I've already built some sort of rapport with that, that relationship, and that relationship ends up being, they feel like I've not been honest with them. Yeah, because I gave all myself, and now all of a sudden I'm taking myself back, and they're like, well,
But here's the deal: if you can't be honest with yourself, and you're not being honest with yourself when you're sacrificing everything that you need to do, like you say, it's that balance.
Right.
But you're not being honest with yourself.
Absolutely.
And a half truth is a whole lie. So me and rigorous honesty, and the rigorous honesty starts within ourselves. So we can't be honest with ourselves about what's going on in our life and about how we feel deep inside. We can't be honest with anybody. We're living a lie. I don't know if that makes sense, but Dipika just said it perfectly. I'm living a lie. That's not who I am. It's like you take a very successful man, okay? And believe me, success is great. Money's great. Doing all that stuff is wonderful. Okay, we won't argue that point. But at what expense are you doing that? Is this at the expense of losing your wife and your children? Maybe not physically, but emotionally? Because all you're doing is you're pumping into work, you're making money. That's your life. I got to give my wife, I got to give the house, I got to get this, But what they really need, what all humans need, is they need love. They need connection. And money can't buy that.
Mm-mm.
Money can't buy that. But again, where's that come from? Right here in our ancestral lineage. It's where it starts.
Oh yes, Jeff, we're going there. We're bringing it. So we're, Jeff, thanks for joining us. We're just talking about how our blueprint has evolved over time, and to really just kind of give a little synopsis of how what the conversations that we're having, and I guess our workshops really, we're working on these workshops because yes, we have these aha moments, but the consistency of those aha moments are what makes us or enables us to transform. Would you say that?
Those aha moments that's the point where we got to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Aha, I get it now. Mm-hmm. I've got what I've been doing hasn't been working.
Right.
So we have the choice of either continuing what we're doing or taking the next necessary steps in action to change from that old behavior. That from that aha moment, and we all have them, and we might have countless amount of aha moments in our life.
Oh yeah.
And it's when we get sick and tired of being sick and tired that aha moment will stick and we'll start moving forward.
Hi, Jackson. Thank you for joining us. So I mean, you'll see in the background right here, and we'll go over it in a short while, the blueprint of your life, or my blueprint, however you want to say it as. But, Randy and I have gone through several forms of education and, really dug deep into where and why have we been doing what we've been doing. Randy has an extensive experience in his life, of success, business, family, failure.
We'll call it loss, not failure.
Yeah, or whether we would say mistakes. But even in that, there's always a learning, right? We all have our own, I guess, downfalls or
it's life. We all trip.
Yeah, trip. That's true.
We all trip. We all, and it's, to say it's not how many times you trip, it's how many times you get up. And when you fall, learn from them. Learn from those mistakes. That's if we can't. I'll use the word failure, even though I don't like using it, because it's never a failure unless you don't learn from it. But a failure just means you're trying. You're working to achieve something.
Yeah, right? And I think, and I really like that analogy actually, because like when you trip, you cut yourself. What do? When we cut ourselves, we don't go, "Oh, you bad cut, you better heal right now." Why are you not healing? We don't say that. We actually love it, right? We clean it up, we nurture it, we give it a bit of TLC. We trust our body can heal, and we take care of it. So when we have a failure, why do we go, oh, I just messed up. Why did I mess up so badly? What's wrong with me? Why can't we come from the point where we go, oh, let me love this. Okay, let me love. What did I do wrong? Okay, what can I do differently? How can I do it differently? And where did it come from? Why did I do what I did as well? That's really important too. And how can we do that? Hi, Michelle. How you doing? You said, can you fix the lighting to see you? It's listen, I'm gonna put my light on. Hang on a second. Let's put this big light on. Does that make any difference? I'm gonna run around. Look at my light setting on my laptop, on my Mac. I'm putting all
like I say, technical difficulties for two technical knuckleheads.
I need to get a special. Oh, give me a second. I'll be right there.
When we trip and fall in life, I mean, you've got to go back as a kid. Is that, I'll speak for myself. I had parents that when I tripped, they kicked me when I was down. Instead of reaching a hand out and saying, what happened? Why'd you trip? Why'd you trip? Let's sit up. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out what went wrong this time so we don't make the same mistake. So a lot of people that I've talked to, a lot of people, they didn't have parents like that. They had parents that would kick them when they were down. And their parents thought that was the best way to help their children become better people. And so what we do is we grow up, and when we trip, we kick ourselves. Nobody needs to beat us up because we beat ourselves up. We're the worst people. The best people to do that is to ourselves. I mean, but that is a learned behavior. That's been a learned behavior that's been handed down. And I would say this: parents generally will treat their kids better than they were treated, even if it's just a little bit better. But it's like when I got in recovery, I knew what was going on in my life was absolutely wrong. And I didn't know how to change it. But then when I got in recovery, it's like, okay, this is what it was, and it's not right. So again, that choice, every day I have to make the choice. Am I going to fall back in that old way of living, which I haven't done for 12 years? Or am I going to work towards being a better Randy? Am I going to work towards those false beliefs that I have, changing those false beliefs in my head that were instilled in me by my parents, by my coaches, by my high school friends, by people in my life? They're the ones that instill a lot of the beliefs in us.
Right.
And it's good to hear it all, but are we making decisions based on trying to make other people happy, even though it's making us miserable? Even though we know, and I believe we all have an innate ability to know what's right and wrong. We all have that moral compass in us. That's my belief.
Right, that's that intention thing, though, isn't it? You know, about. I always believe that everybody has a good intention.
Right.
Even the sickest people, right. I think they had their own intentions, good or bad. Because if we didn't categorize things, I mean, we as part of our society, we have categorized so many things, right. Which is a fundamental part of how we live. But in that also, there's a lot of false expectations and assumptions and expectations, I would say, you know, because we think that it should be a certain way, but right. If there's no right or wrong, ultimately, just like you're just saying, you know, we all have that moral compass. We all know what's good for us. We all know, okay, if I eat like this every single day, it's going to do this to me, right? Or if I don't know.
If I don't exercise, I'm going to stiffen up like a dead horse in a field.
Right.
But seriously, but as long as I exercise and keep my body fluid.
And in your case, if you don't exercise, it's going to also have an impact on your relationship because you're going to feel stressed out and you're
right.
not burning the energy that you need to burn,
right. Exactly.
Which is going to have an impact on your family. I mean, same with mine. I mean, I'm not in a partnership at the moment, but whether it's with my friend, being available for my friends, my family. If I don't exercise, you know, I don't want to talk to my mom on Skype, you know, because I'm like, okay, I get really caught up in my head. So that balance is not just about something doing physically, but it's, I guess, the whole thing, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Right. We all have to have practices in all those elements to get us connected, to get us in alignment. So, you know, the whole point of the conversation so far, so like we're talking about the blueprint. So without going into lots and lots of detail, but as you can see, is a diagram behind us, and the conversation that Randy and I, you know, we've come together and we really discuss this, quite some depth. Is we are from a multitude of things. Our ancestral, our childhood, and our adolescence. And I know, Michelle, you did put in there, you did comment to us saying, my generation, yes, but not my parents and not their parents. And I think this is the subconscious stuff that the ancestral comes in. This is the stuff that we don't have control over. We don't even get it, but we do it right? And there's a part of it is like, even though in our moral compass we go, no, this isn't right, I shouldn't be doing this, but we still go and do it. And that's the stuff that comes from our ancestral. Do you have anything that?
Well, and it's like you said, it's not conscious. We don't do what we do consciously. It comes from our subconscious. A lot of times it's the learned behavior part. And so it's like generational curses is what they call them. So it's a generational curse handed down from family, from year to year to year to year. So, but that curse, like we've discussed, and now I think you brought some stuff to attention, and then there's a book I read that the behaviors actually get ingrained in our DNA. Okay, and so, but with the generational curse, why I'm just cursed? It's a generational curse in my family. This goes all the way back in my ancestry. It's 10 generations back, whatever it is. It's going to be how it is. No, it's not. We can change that curse.
We have the ability
to do that. Our neural pathways are plastic. So we can reframe what we think, and it takes time.
Yeah, it's not an overnight thing, for sure. It's not an overnight thing.
So so it starts at, our parents are just doing to them what was handed down to them. Okay? It's generation. If I'll look at my family, I'll look at my mom's side of the family. Okay? My mom was extremely, extremely abusive, both emotionally and physically. My mother's side of the family, her brothers and her father, they all were very abusive to her in every way imaginable. And I've talked to her about her ancestral part of it, and it was a long lineage of alcoholics that were nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. Okay? So that got handed. My mother was that way to me because she didn't know any other way to be. That's what she was taught as a parent, as a child. Her mother was extremely miserable. Her father was an alcoholic that worked for the banks that would get paid on Friday and not show up on Monday, or show up on Monday with no money. So it was an ancestral thing that got handed down from generation to generation. And then I was treated the same way by my parents, by my mother and my stepfather, as they were treated by their parents. And I unfortunately got the genetic part of the gene where I became an alcoholic at this point in my life.
Welcome back, Michelle.
But it's not, none of that is my fault. It's not our fault. But I had the choice. The ancestral part of that was real clear to me. On the other side of the family, it was light. It was my father's side of the family was a great family. He was a great man, strong man. We had our issues, yeah, but it's nothing like the dark side. And I had a choice to make, even 32 years ago, talking to my wife, that I've got to break this chain of abuse in my family. But I still went through a lot of stuff for the next 30 some years before I got to the point where I said, okay, I've got to, this is all I know. I didn't know I thought I was doing a good job, but I was doing a terrible job. My kids tell me, Dad, you were a good father. You just made some bad choices now and then. And my wife, we had a great time, but it caught up to me. And it came down to a choice where, Randy, your get out of jail free cards are used up. So what am I going to do? Say, well, screw it, it's just the way I am. I hope none of you like me. Too bad.
I'm going to stay this way.
I'm going to just stay this way.
Because I have no way of shifting that or changing that.
After all, I was successful. Mm-hmm. I could buy whatever I want. I had everything. So why would I want to change? Because inside I was miserable and I knew what my life was wrong. And that's where the work begins. But in our childhood, and Topeka, we have positive that happens to us. We have traumatic that happens, dramatic, and we have negative that happens to us. That happens to every one of us, no matter what in our life. None of us escape this. But that's what forms us as adults. That's what we bring into our adulthood, and that's where our past hurts, hang-ups, and habits come. So like I say earlier, a lot of us have really good childhoods, and that's good. Not everybody suffers trauma and drama in their life of extensive amounts that are really hard to get over. But there's a lot of people that do.
Right. And I think, one of the things that you just touched on, in your experience, and I can say it in my experience and in life is, with my family and my brother, so it's just myself and my brother. My brother's 4 years older than I, and he lives back home in England, with his family. My whole family live in England. And just looking at how, he's done things. So he's experienced trauma in his own way, and I experienced trauma in my own way. And my brother's like, got his head, you look at him and you think he's got his head together, everything's good. He's got the 2.5 children, and, he's got a good job. His wife has a good job. But you really, with my brother's case, what I see, because he doesn't want to be like my parents, and my just to let you know, I think, without passing judgment, this is not a judgmental thing, but over, even in Randy's case, on my case, this is just some truth, I think, talking about truth rather than feeling like there's shame or guilt with it. So I just want to, it's a hard conversation to have. My parents did the best that they could do, but still, hey, they didn't have the tools that we have and that we're generating and that we're talking about that we have now. And same with my brother, because what I see that he doesn't want to be like my mom or dad. He makes an effort, but because he doesn't know his subconscious programming, he does a lot of things based from fear. So he will not have those conversations that are deep conversations, because just in case he triggers something in somebody else, and then the reaction will be something that will spiral out of hand. So he will keep himself quiet. He won't do the things that, and it takes two people. It's a hard, this is not about, I think we've got to go through things that are difficult, but sometimes we've got to have those difficult conversations. Yeah. Rather than having the fear that we're going to lose someone or something if we have this conversation, because on most cases that doesn't happen. On most cases, and the initial reaction might even look like something, but if you give it time, that doesn't happen. I know that in my case, when I've had several conversations, whether it's with friends or family,
Tuesday with you and I.
Tuesday with you and I, and just having that conversation and that discomfort. But then also, I think with you and I, because of what we do and the work that we do, there is a little bit of a difference in how we communicate with one another. We have a different dialogue or a different language that most people would go, that's weird. Why would they even say that? But because
that's true, though.
In the real world, or the real language that would be used would be, that you hurt me, or you this, or you that, or why would you say that? It would be projected rather than
it'd be an attack.
Or defense mechanism. We would be defending. So ultimately, here are all our experiences, and if this is the only moment that there is, and there's an experience happening, all of these experiences come into this moment, and I react from all of these emotions, and I create this. So if I'm not aware of my hurts, my habits, and my hang-ups from my past, then I will react from there, and my response would be completely different. How I am, how I would behave, how I would interact, or how I don't interact. It would come from this moment, because in this moment, if Randy said to me, "Oh, Dipika, what you ended up saying?" For example, Randy always had this joke, when we were typing away or we're writing something and my spelling isn't the best, and Randy will be like, "Yeah, here you go again. You don't have to read all right. Did your parents not teach you?" and I'd be like, if I was in the past, that was actually a really hard thing for me, because of growing up in England and going through the education system, but then also my parents being Indian and speaking my native tongue. I had a really hard time with speaking English. I had a really hard, it was really difficult for me. And then the traumas made it even more difficult for me, for concentration, to be present, to all of those things. So I know in my early 20s, I would say, or late teens, and my friends would say certain things, and I would take it so personally. I'd be like, oh my god, the confidence really got knocked of how I am, how I come forth. Even this conversation right now, a couple of years back, or just a couple of months back, I wouldn't be doing this conversation on Facebook Live and having, right. How hard this was such a hard, Randy and I spoke several times, and Randy's like, so when are you going to do it? Or even Marie, my friend Marie, she would be like, so when are you going to do it? There's no time like the present. But because of my past hurts, habits, and hang-ups, it was something that froze me constantly.
Also when you talk about, we joke around a lot with each other, okay? And we're in a place also where if Dipika was to say, Randy, I'm really struggling with doing this and your words are hurtful to me, a lot of people would say, oh, come on, get over it, Dipika. I'm just joking with you. I mean, that's what a lot of people do, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Oh, yeah.
But if Dipika, like our conversation Tuesday, I was struggling with some stuff, we'll sit and we talk. I wouldn't say to Dipika, get over it. I'll go, oh, I'm sorry, Dipika. I didn't know it's all in fun. I didn't want to hurt you. So it's a different language altogether when you start your own healing process. I mean, you just learn how to treat other people. Once you can start treating yourself better,
right,
you can treat other people better,
yeah.
Right? And
once you're not critical of yourself, because ultimately all of those things would be me criticizing myself, going, right, you can't speak properly, or you have an accent, or you have this, or you have that, and that's where it would really come from. So what you say is that I've took it as truth, because that's the only truth that I know, even of myself, on an internal basis, right? So it's not something that's outside. Jeff, you asked a question, but is it possible that sometimes individuals can dwell on these things too much? Yeah, absolutely. I think there is something that there is, but they just need to be heard. So is it dwelling, or is it?
No, it's a great question, yeah, Jeff, because you can dwell on it too much, and that's because you're dwelling on it yourself. It's in your head. It's stuck in, and I'm using you, Jeff, and I mean people that get stuck in their head and they're trying to work through it by themselves instead of finding a confident person that they can sit down and say, hey man, I'm struggling with this stuff. I need somebody to help me work through this. When we try to do it ourselves, it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning in our head, and we can never figure it out.
Right.
Often guys and girls, they come to us and say, well, how long I got to talk about this? Until you're done talking about it, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you work through it. As long as you're moving forward, because sometimes we have things that are really hurtful in our life, they're really deeply scarred in us, and so we have to keep talking about them, and finally we get a breakthrough on one thing, but then as that scar starts to heal, another layer of the onion comes off and another part of the hurt comes out.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about it again. Okay, so yeah, you can dwell on it too much and stay stuck on it. And that generally comes from a person not wanting to reach out for help. And then a good coach, a good mentor will also, Jeff, for instance, if you were talking to us and you kept on about the same thing, and we kept on saying, Jeff, you need to do A, B, and C, and we get together again, and you'd be dwelling about it, you're talking about it, I go, Jeff, did you do A? And you go, no. I go, well, you've got to do A. You're not doing anything that we've asked you to do, so nothing's going to change. So that's where that fine line comes in. If you stay stuck in your own head and don't reach out for help, then it becomes very unhealthy, because then you become miserable inside. You take your pain and anger out, whatever the issue is, on everybody else. Okay, so it's reaching out for help and saying, I'm struggling with this. And as men, and Jeff, I don't know you, but as men, we're the worst at it. Don't talk. Don't show your emotions. Don't show your feelings. Don't cry. Suck it up. Be a man. Figure out all the societal rules for men. And those are lies. There's a place and time for everything, yeah. But we can't do life alone. I tried it for too long. And it wasn't until I got in recovery and I started talking and opening up to the right people. That's another key. To the right people at the right time, that my healing began. And I was able to get out of, I'm just going to use the word victim mode, because I was a victim for a long time, and start moving into a thriving survivor. Okay.
In the active mode. I mean, I just want to think of a couple of things that you've said. I mean, it's when we talk about movement. So here's something that's an experience that's happened that's real to whoever's gone through that experience. It's a very real experience, and nobody's going to take that away from you. However, if you this, just like you just saying, it's going round and round in a circle. We're water, we're fluid, right? So we have to have movement, and if that's always constantly going round and round in a circle, and we don't have that movement, just like exercising, right, you seize up, it stays there. That inflammation stays there. And we have to have that movement. So why is exercise really important? Because that keeps everything moving. It keeps your blood moving. It keeps your oxygen moving in your body. It keeps things refreshing, revitalizing, re-energizing.
Right.
And I think a lot of times there's a certain just little practices, daily practices that we're not doing, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So, again, an extreme of one thing to another isn't going to make you healthy. It's not going to solve any problem. Just like anyone being really, really spiritual, and okay, they're going in their cave and they go in the cocoon and they're reading all these spiritual books, and I'm a great person. I feel great. I'm having all these meditations. And then they go into the world and they go, oh my God, I can't handle this person. I have to back up. You're not going to be of service. You're not going to be of the purpose of what we're here for is to create healthy, loving, caring relationships and to make a difference in people's lives. It's not going to happen because you're always going to be that victim mode again. Jeff, so victim mode. Sometimes people refuse to move from that. Yeah, and they do.
Well, see, and now our workshop, Jeff, you're touching on stuff that there's a couple things behind here that probably won't show today, but one was the brain part with the circle. Has to do with the amygdala, your limbic system, and your prefrontal cortex. We talk about that in one of the workshops, and also what you're talking about being stuck. Yeah, that's what we got a whole nother thing on that too, because the people briefly, they're very comfortable in their uncomfortableness. Mm-hmm. They're very comfortable. It's all they know. They hate being there. They hate it, but they know that uncomfortableness. They know how to deal with it. They know how to manipulate it. They know how to maneuver through it. And the minute they start a recovery program and they step out of that uncomfortableness that they're very well familiar with, and when you start in recovery, you start talking about this stuff, Jeff, it gets very, very uncomfortable. And it's a feeling that most people are unaware of. And so they can't handle it. And so they'll go right back to their default. And they'll jump right back in the uncomfortableness.
We should do that in our next call.
We'll do it in the next call.
We'll do it in the next
it's
call.
Really important. We'll do it next
week
because it's really important. It's really important. So just briefly touching on that, Jeff. But yeah, you're right. They stay stuck there because they get, oh, poor Topeka. Oh, come crying to me. Poor Topeka. It'll be all right, Topeka. Just keep doing what you're doing, and it'll get better. Yeah. So she gets her little pat on the back, and
I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Just keeping being sad. I mean, that misery loves misery. What, misery loves misery?
Yeah, misery loves misery. But yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because that's a really hard. I don't know somebody else's pain. And whatever it is, somewhere along the line, they haven't had a chance to completely let go of it, and maybe, and that there's no right or wrong there. Some people take longer than others, and then sometimes we need to, even ourselves, if they're in that place. I can say for my mom, for example, my mom really struggles with her life, and she's struggling right now, and I have to detach because I can't fix it anymore. I can't give her my wise words. She has to be open to it and ask for it. And that's something that's really hard, and we do that with our loved ones and our family members, but there's certain parts of it that we can't do, and all I can do is love her the way I know how, and that's how I do it, in terms of her respecting her space where she's at, rather than wronging her and breaking that relationship. I don't want to break that relationship completely. Go ahead, Eric,
I'm going to get right to you, but to close with Jeff too, like Dipika said, that when I sit down with these victims, I meet them where they're at. That's what got my healing started. For the first time in my life, people met me where I was at. They validated all my feelings. Okay, I know their pain. I know a lot of people's pain. I'm not them, so I don't know exactly how they feel. I'm very empathetic. And so when I first work with people, all I do is meet them where they're at, and I love them where they're at. And I listen to them, because a lot of times people just need to be heard. That's it. They just need to be heard. So on the victim part, that's the way I approach it, and Dipika kind of touched on it a little bit. Look at Eric, with my mom, she was extremely toxic. And we are to love everybody. I think that's our calling here on earth. But, what does that love look like? And we're also, when it comes to respect and honor and trust, that's something, being a parent, and even on the biblical part, even being a parent, wherever it is, that we have to earn. We have to, as a parent, I had to earn my kids' trust and respect back. And I think too often parents think that it's just an automatic thing that they're going to receive because they're a parent. But think about this. If you're doing disrespectful and dishonorable things to your child, do you really think they're going to respect you or honor you? So as an adult, we hear this all the time. Well, you got to love your parent. You got to love everyone. You got to love everyone. Yeah, I love everyone. I love my perpetrator, Jack. I love my mother. I do, but I don't want nothing to do with them. That loving is one thing. Having the love in their heart, and just praying for them that's all we can do sometimes, is love and pray. Yeah. My mom wasn't allowed in my life. She died not getting to know this wonderful man right here. She was not allowed in my life because she was so toxic. She blamed me for everything. I loved her as a human being. Yeah. That's our call to life. We love everyone, but we can't expect other people to love us back, even our parents. And parents do love us. Your mom does love you. I can guarantee it. She's a mother. She doesn't know how to show it, and she might be carrying some of her own shame. And Eric, I know you, and I know what you do, and you just keep doing the right thing for you, your wife, and your baby. You keep being the human being that you are. That's all that you can do. We can't force our parents, our brothers, anybody to love us the way we want them to love us. And being a man that didn't have that love of a mother, that intimate love as a mother, it's not fun. I mean, it's not fun. But I know where you're connected, and there's a lot of love there for you. And
thanks for joining me.
And just know that all you have to do is love her in your heart. That's all you got to do. That's all God requires of you, okay, is to love her from your heart. You have nothing to be ashamed of, okay? You have nothing to be ashamed of. The acceptance, all of us have to learn to accept ourselves. I was the same way. Sometimes we go after the wrong kind of acceptance.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, it's what got me in trouble. I wanted to be accepted, so I was successful. But the people that I looked up to, that I followed, they got me in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, because I wanted to be accepted.
I think that avoidance of it, because I mean, Eric, you know, in your sharing on your question, you know, you said, I feel no acceptance from her, and sometimes from others. I have to hide in the gym to go get something, some acceptance or clear those feelings, but I can't hide forever. But so the thing is, what are you avoiding? What are you avoiding within yourself that you can't accept to be there? Because, you know, I know that feeling, you know, I had that growing up in England, you know, and I avoided myself. God, you know, my teenage years, I did not like myself at all. And that was really hard, you know. I mean, like even in the, you know, even the words that you're using, like some people, you talked about the word recovery. And you know, for some people, depending what stage you're in their lives, you know, we do take words in a literal way, and we have a different understanding.
Just real quick, I want comments from everybody. When you hear the word recovery, what do you think about? And just
what
type
does that
it in.
mean to you?
What does that mean to you? Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Just type it in.
You know, because these are things, you know, people don't see. I mean, I know back in my day, you know, we talked about, you know, whether it's coaching. Well, coaching wasn't huge at that time, but you know, therapy was huge at that time. And the thought of even having therapy in my culture, in my, it's like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with me. I don't want it. Is that denial and avoidance? You know, why would I avoid now in this world, in my life right now? I would go, why wouldn't I get that? Why wouldn't I have the opportunity to talk about and heal and recover and create a new space? And even if it's within a program, you know, recovery program, why would I not, if that is available, right? Why would I not even take that step to even do it? And what's really triggering me in that word of going, okay, that's recovery. It's, you know, I for yourself, Eric, you know, and for everybody really, I mean, what does recovery mean to you? And what, if you really find yourself running from something and doing something else, then what are you not accepting within yourself? And what are you not looking within yourself, and what you're avoiding within yourself to go and run? Rather than be there and just feel that, because there's nothing wrong with a feeling. There's nothing wrong with a sad feeling. There's nothing wrong with a bad feeling. You know, there's nothing wrong with pain. I mean, in that sense, I mean, you know, I remember working for a gentleman. I worked with a retired test pilot for a number of years, and he had an operation on his spine, which he lost a sensation on his left side of his body, but he had a little bit of feeling, so it wasn't completely gone. And it was almost like, because he had that little bit of feeling and that little bit of pain, which gave him access to still using his hand. If he had no feeling and no pain, the likelihood that the arm wouldn't experience or be available for him to actually use, because his brain wouldn't be sending the right signals. So there's nothing wrong with pain. It's actually going, okay, being able to say, can I go through it? Am I willing to look deeper into what that pain is? If I look at, again, back in my childhood, and I was in constant pain, my lower back would always be hurting me. But, you know, doing the work that I've done, I mean, I don't get that more now. If I get pain, it's more because of my activities, you know, what I do, and am I stretching, right? But I don't know whether, you know, in your sense of your body and how you've gone through a lot of stuff, you know, physically too, right?
Yeah, thanks.
But you know, like when you really look at where you are now and all the stuff that you've gone through, do you feel a difference in pain? I do feel pain. Don't get me wrong. I have my own stuff that goes on, that comes up every once in a while, but you know, I'm human, right? You know, I'm, as much as I think I'm Wonder Woman, but you know,
I got a high tolerance to physical pain.
Because of all the stuff that's come through.
But all of us have a low tolerance to emotional pain.
Yeah, you avoid it.
It's completely, and we avoid it because it's so real. Eric, you know where you can come on Friday nights and you're going to be accepted and loved, not judged, none of that. You know where I'm talking about. You can, every Friday night we're there, and we'd love to have you. Jeff, you got a couple of really good questions. My mom about 5-6 years ago. Yeah, maybe maybe longer than that ago. So probably 10 years ago, somewhere around there. It doesn't matter.
Hi, Sarah.
I was told not to have any. Don't answer phone calls. Don't do nothing, because every time she did it, it was nothing but toxic, and it threw me into a shame spiral. She wrote a really nasty letter to me, but she decided that she was ready. She wanted to try to work things out and reconcile with me. And it was in my therapist's office that we talked about it. And I says, I will gladly do that. As a man, recovering man, I have no problem doing that. I forgave her. Okay, I made my amends to her. And so my therapist, she's a doll. She's wonderful. Was setting the whole thing up. And my mother wanted to take control of it and do it when she wanted to do it. And I told my therapist, no, I'm not ready for that. You and I need to have a session before this all goes down. My therapist made that phone call to change it. And the next phone call I got was from my therapist says, nope, you're not talking to her. She's blaming you for everything. She's blaming you for everything. It was your fault. You deserved it, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, well, I'm not going to sit there and listen to that. So was my mom? Yeah, a little bit. Because, well, I'll tell you what. So we let it go, and it's done and said with, and I forgave my mom, and she really hurt my family too. She hurt my daughter. She hurt my sons. She hurt a lot of people, my kids and stuff. Unfortunately, my mom died a year ago. She was killed. She died as a result of some injuries in a car accident, and she was unable to see the man that I am today. And that's why I say I believe mothers are mothers, and there's a love inside of a mother that will always be there. But there's also a lot of mothers that are evil, and my mother was evil, and the people that know her will say that. And she was a Christian woman, but she was far from a Christian in my eyes. And the burden, Jeff, would be that my dad died when I was 12 years old, so I grew up without a father, and then. My story, I don't want to get all into my story, but a lot of things happened to me, and my mother was very abusive. And so I never had a father, and I never had a mother. Okay. And so that part is there's pain in there. It's, I can say a lot. Again, I don't want to, this isn't about blame. This isn't about anything else. This is about the reality. Okay. This is about the realities of life. And the one thing I am is I'm transparent and I'm honest. And you know what? My mom died. I didn't go to her funeral. I didn't feel a need to go to her funeral. I laid my head down at night and went to sleep without a guilt, shame, or anything. Because I know that I did everything I had to do as a man, as a son, to heal that side of it,
He said that he has a sister right next to you.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And just in saying that, I mean, they're just going, just sharing with that, it's coming back to this, right? It's coming back to, This was his childhood experience, but there's stuff that's ancestral that's also in Randy's family and Randy's background. He had all of these experiences in between. He has his hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And in recognizing that certain times, even with all the work that he's done, even all the work that I've done in myself, sometimes these hurt, habits, and hang-ups come up in life experience, and only in that awareness can you shift that.
Yeah. Eric, you're right, Eric, 100%. You're accepted, and that should be the only person you have to worry about. But I can tell you the reality is that we're human beings, and we need acceptance from other human beings here on earth. And I was the same way you. My father died when I was 12, and my dad would be extremely proud of the man I am today. He'd be extremely proud of my family. But he's not here. But what I've had in my life, Eric, I'm speaking directly to you right now, is I had some mentors along the last 12 years, because I felt the same way you felt, exact same way. But those mentors brought me back to life. They accepted me and they loved me when I couldn't love myself. Okay? And I'm telling you, and I've told you before, I'm here for you. Come on Friday nights, Eric. I promise you, there's nothing to be embarrassed about, nothing to be ashamed about. There's a family over there that will love you unconditionally.
Come to our classes.
Come to our classes. When we get these classes going, come to them too. Definitely come to the classes because we'll go deeper than Friday nights. But Eric, there's
space. There's space everywhere in your Friday night community.
Right.
There's space. Right. There's space, and there's family, and there's connection. There's community. And everybody who's joined, we really appreciate you interacting, and this is where the healing comes in. We can't help. We have our own conversations of healing, but the impact that we want to leave others with is with the fact of this kind of communication and integration of tools and talking and healing. We're coming up to our hour. Can we believe it that we've been talking for an hour? Every single one of you guys, we really appreciate you staying online with us, sticking through this conversation with us. We're here for you. We are establishing ourselves as Love Your Life Story.
Hey, Sherry.
And you will see at the moment we're doing this live video on your page and my page. So hence my friends, that's why, you'll be seeing names or hearing names and you'll be like, I can't see that name because it's on my page, not on
we got two different
page.
Computers going here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we do apologize for this interim part. We're trying to figure things out ourselves with technology. But as soon as the technology has emerged and come together, it's going to be a lot easier for you guys to find what we're working on, how we're going to be going about things. Our classes are going to be starting, I think we're looking at end of June to early July, and starting our 3-month program, for the community.
We got to work because I'll be gone in September.
Right. But we've been talking about dates, so we're looking at July time, and then in between, because Randy's going, but he's not going for that long. I mean, he makes it out as if he's going for a whole month. But he's going
I'm going for a month.
No, you're not.
I'm going in September.
But that'll be part of that too. Oh, with the bike ride, I know Randy's, followers know about his bike ride. But hey, guys, as you guys know, that a couple of weeks back, I rode from
you're crazy,
Irvine to San Diego, but I'm going to be riding with this guy from what point to what point?
Santa Barbara to San Diego.
Santa Barbara to San Diego. I need some love and support for that one. So,
Well, she won't ride from Seattle to San Diego with me.
I would. It's a whole month. I'm like, so, maybe if I get enough support and I'm ready, bring it. That's all I say. Bring it.
So, there's going to be a lot going on between the two of us. We have a lot. We have our own things. I got the foundation. You got your wellness stuff.
Yes.
So we're kind of bringing some of it together. Actually, it's all going to be kind of intermingled, but
it is. I mean, one doesn't live without the other, right?
Right.
One doesn't.
And as we go, you'll hear more about the foundation, about what we do and why we do it, and that part of life that is very critical that we talked about. And we'll talk about that later, but it's a very critical part that I am adamant about talking about and passionate about talking about, because it's a big reason why people are so broken. It's a big secret in life. So we'll be talking more about that in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so just to remind you guys, every Thursday, 11 a.m., we will be doing the live feeds. Unless anything comes up, then we will inform you.
I got to do it from Hawaii.
Yeah, that would be really good. Can you imagine that? We should do that.
Where are you going to be?
Here.
You're going to be here.
I'm not planning to go anywhere maybe later on this year, but at this moment in time, I'm right here. Jeff, we really appreciate you. Thank you for being here with us, and being Eric. Thank you. Look forward to. I don't come to CR, but I think I should start coming and making that part of my.
You know me, I don't push. We just invite.
But my eyes like, What? No, see, no, but I appreciate your sharing, Eric. I appreciate your sharing, Jeff.
Thank you guys all.
Thank you, and thank you for everybody who's been here with us. Follow us on Love Your Life Story YouTube channel, correct? We'll be putting the links on our feeds, as we're going along.
We're still working on all.
We're still working on all that stuff, yeah. But it's coming along, and we're super excited.
So also too, last week I got when we set up the original Facebook page, because we kind of did it wrong. My daughter straightened us out today. So when that gets set up completely again, last week I got a lot of people saying, "Hey Randy, is this you? Is this you?" And understandably so, because of all the things that are out there that are crooked. Just know it's a transformation. It's Love Your Life Now.
Love Your Life Now.
Set up as Love Your Life Now.
No. Love Your Life Story.
Love Your Life Story. That's the Facebook page. It is Dipika and I. Okay, so it's all.
So if you see us, it's us, and like us and share.
Or not, but you better.
Or Randy's gonna come after you. Yeah. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys. Namaste. We will see you next Thursday at 11 a.m. and we're going to be talking about the sea of uncomfortableness. So you have your final message.
Be good to yourself. Love yourself. And know that our main mission is we talk about the hard stuff, but it's more about hope and healing. Okay. And that's what we want to get to. That's what we want to bring to you, is a lot of hope and healing. And you'll probably hear our stories a little more as we go, and you'll understand why we're doing what we're doing. So I'll just, one thing that I'll give one snippet is my sister-in-law. I've been meeting with her, and she gave up hope. She gave up all hope with some situations in her life. And I walked back in her life after 35 years, and she knows what I went through. And she says, "Randy, I have hope again for my kids." Because she gave up hope. She flat said it. She goes, "Now seeing you and what you've done, I have hope for my kids today." Mm-hmm. So that's what we're about. We want you to have hope for a better life, no matter what it is. Okay? No judgment.
And one more thing. Nobody told you we love you.
Nobody told you they love you today.
They love you.
We love you.
Randy and I love you. Yes. So Thank you. And see you next week.
Be blessed.
Take care. Bye-bye. Yay, right on.